Thank you for everything that we've heard so far this morning. Good morning, and welcome again to the Center for Divine Love. This month, we have been speaking about realigning ourselves with our goals, and it's a reassessment, it's a reflection of our goals. So, we're going to talk about how we're setting our goals. We've been speaking this month so far about maybe goals that we've set for the year, because it is mid-year. But today we're going to talk about more long-term, lifestyle-changing goals. Because there are really short ones, right? Like, oh, I need to take care of my landscaping this weekend, or I need to clean my house this weekend. Then there are longer short-term goals, like studying for and acing a standardized test, or earning an industry certification, or earning one's bachelor's or master's degree. So, again, today we're going to talk about more goals that are changing more the core of who we are, or who we think we are. Because we're talking about changing parts of us that are in our human selves. And we know that we are not actually just our human selves. We know, what we hear every week in church, is that we are an individualized expression of God. We are really spirit, a spirit that is connected to every single thing in the entire universe. So armed with that understanding, we know that it's not something that we need to be attached to if we have something, a part of our human selves that we need to change. For example, I have a problem, and I think I say this like every time I'm up here. I have a problem with punctuality. Isn't that correct? Everyone that knows me can attest to that. Now, I can say that's just who I am. That's just who I am as a person. But I don't have to be attached to that. I can change that. Now, it's going to be difficult. It's going to require me to really dig down deep and change some core habits that I have been practicing for decades. We all have those. We all have those things within us. And the key is to identify for your own self what it is that you would like to change. Because someone else can't impose it upon you. How many of us have had people try to impose on us, hey, you need to do this, you need to stop doing this, you need to eat better, you need to change this, and it doesn't really work. Am I the only one? Am I the only one that experiences that? Okay, so we know it doesn't work on us, but we also know that we have the tendency to try to impose our will on other people. Isn't that right? Right? We say, oh, girl, you need to do this. You need to change. It's very easy for us to see it in other people. And we really try, as hard as we might, we really try to get that person to change. But it is not going to happen unless that person has it within themselves to do so. What do they say when someone goes to a rehab facility or something like that? They have to be the ones to check themselves in, right? Because otherwise, it is not going to work. It is not going to work. My aunt, she was trying to call therapists and things for someone in my family, and they said, hey, if this person is an adult and of sound mind, they have to be the one to give the call. So today, we're going to say, how are we identifying the things that we want to change? So everybody, and changing these lifestyle changes, and making these lifestyle changes facilitates our spiritual growth, because we know, again, that we don't have to be bound by anything, any habit, however long it's been that we have created in our human selves. So changing those is a part of spiritual growth. Everybody's at different stages in their spiritual growth, and everybody is at different stages with different things. Like, you may be You may be really good at punctuality, say, but you struggle a little bit on eating food that works well with your body, or you struggle a little bit with like relationships. And then this other person may be strong at relationships, but they struggle at, at learning new things. It's just everyone has different things and different stages that they're at. So where you start is not where you're going to end up. A lot of times we make goals and aspirations, but then what do we find out a year or two or maybe 10 years later? That is not our same goal that we've had. Like, say for instance, when you were 5, you said, hey, when I grow up I want to be a firefighter. But when you're 25, that's not the same thing. We have to be willing to adjust, and that's okay. That's part of not being bound to our human selves. We are adaptable, we're changeable, we're flexible beings. Well, we, like I said, are one with the creator of the entire universe. So, are you willing to go through change? Because if you're honest enough in looking at yourself and realizing that there are things, no matter what stage you're in, that are problematic. Problematic outside, maybe, but most definitely problematic within yourself, because you are having a problem with things and you're blaming it on the outside. What I mean by that is we tend to want to change things from the outside. We're like, hey, in order for me to feel comfortable, I'm going to need you to behave this way. In order for me to feel comfortable, I'm going to need you to do this, not that. But the only person that we can change is ourselves. So we have to do the inner work on ourselves and realize when we get ourselves right, when we can be centered, no matter what is happening on the outside, that's the gravy train right there. Now, I'm not saying that we're going to like everything that happens on the outside. I'm not saying that we're going to, that everything is fair that happens on the outside. But if we can be centered and work on ourselves, then we're better off. And it's empowering to know that the power is all within you. It's how you react to the outside world. Spiritual growth is about change. And it's not about justifying or rationalizing or suppressing anything. It's not to mention, so are you willing to look inside yourself? And it's not also, another thing we do is we set goals, but we're setting goals from a place where we are right now. And we don't actually know beyond where we are right now. What am I trying to say? So we can say, think about this. If you say, hey, you want to go to New York? What do you think New York is like? If you've never been to New York, you're just going to be making up a concept. So what we tend to do is make up concepts about what we want. Like me, for instance. I have this concept in my head that I am a commercial spokesperson. Flo from Progressive. But, who knows if I'll ever do that? The thing is, I'm just coming from where the experiences that I've had so far. But if I just focus more on, like, letting go of the habits that I would like to change, you never know where you will end up. Like, you identify one certain thing that you think will make you happy, but there's just so many opportunities out there in life. So sometimes we get married to a specific goal that we've created out of thin air, but we miss our blessings and our opportunities for the plethora of other things that are out there in the world for us to do and enjoy and experience. So one thing we can do is focus more on shedding the different parts of ourselves that we identify ourselves as something that we do not wish to have inside of us, okay? If we focus on changing those things, then we will naturally rise to the occasions that are set before us. Like, for example, if you identify that you are a jealous person, you're insecure, you don't want to, you might want to manipulate the outside and say, hey, you know, if you're in a relationship, ooh, can we work together? Like, let's work at the same place and let's eat lunch every day together. Like, does that not sound like a nightmare or what? Am I the only one? So you may, nightmare, right? You may want to look at yourself and say, okay, that's something within me that I need to change and I need to fix, and not try to manipulate the outside world to appease the fact that I am, you know, I have jealousy and I have insecurity. So it's examples like that. Like, if we focus on, you know, when we identify parts of ourselves that we would like to change, then when we work on that, we'll have more energy. It will help us in tackling, say, the next thing, because we're not going to tackle everything about us that we would like to change all at once. Okay, that is absurd. I'm not sure if I'm the only one that has, you know, more than one thing to change. So we need to work on, say, one thing at a time, and then it will inform the next thing, like the strength that you build from tackling such a lifestyle change. I mean, you feel stronger. I know that we have all done something so far that we have improved about ourselves, right? And do you not feel stronger after that? After you were like, okay, now I have this new habit and I've changed that about myself. Now I can go on to tackle the next thing. And it's kind of a transmutation of energy, because the energy that it took for you to, say, procure a certain substance that was harming your body, the energy that it took you to go for that and always try to get that substance, and that energy is now transferred into something a little more productive, whatever you identify for yourself. So that's just a different kind of way of looking at goal setting, because yes, we do have these shorter term goals, yes, but if you want to identify a long term goal for yourself, maybe try, and you can also do that, but also focus on shedding the parts of yourself that are holding you back. And then you just, the world will be your oyster. You just will never know what opportunities will arise from you just bettering yourself. And where you think you want to go is not keeping you from where you are now. Spirituality is not about getting anything. It's always about losing everything. What the big trend that we have now in spirituality is the law of attraction, and it's all about identifying what you want and going after it. But spirituality can also be looked at as about losing your desire for specific things, and therefore gaining the desire to just have the world unfold as it is. Now, that's not to say that you're not going to help it, you're not going to intercede and do things, but if you identify one single thing that will make you happy, you're missing out on other things that could make you happy. Because if you say, okay, I'll only be happy if I get a job at this location, at this company and doing this position, well, the odds of you getting that job are what? If you are happy, if you learn how to be your best self, no matter where you are, no matter what you're doing, that will just open up more opportunities for you. So take a hot air balloon, right? If they're not floating up in their helium or their hot air, it's because they're tethered to the ground, right? You can stand inside the hot air balloon and think all you want about how it must be to fly and put more helium in it and think about putting more air in it and talk to people and ask, like, why isn't it up in the ground, up in the air? But it's not going up because it's tethered to the ground. And so if you cut the tethers, instead of complaining that it's not going up, instead of putting more air in it, it will go up by itself if you cut the tethers, because that is its nature. And so I liken that to the fact that if we shed our tethers in ourselves, right? If we take a look inside ourselves and see what it is that we would like to change to make our lives better, that is cutting the tethers to the hot air balloon. And then you will naturally rise, because that is your natural disposition. You will naturally gain more opportunities. You'll naturally just take advantage of more things. Because that is how the spiritual path is. It's not about you trying to go up, like laboring to go up. It's about, again, cutting the tethers that are keeping you down, which is what? Identifying things about yourself that you would like to change, and then the natural state is that you will be higher than you could ever imagine. So your concepts, your views, your opinions, your weaknesses, your strengths, they all can be changed. Because the people who we identify as people who don't change, like, can you see that if you have habits that are detrimental to yourself and others around you, if you are not willing to change those habits, that it becomes like you're stuck, you're stagnant. And so, and you don't want to be hard on yourself, though. You don't want to feel guilty or ashamed about anything inside of you, because it's all just a culmination of your experiences in life. But as you grow more and as you learn more, you can learn to deprogram yourself, away from your past experiences. As you grow and learn, you don't have to rely on or blame or justify your actions based on your past experiences. You can know that you are a conscious being who is fully empowered to change whatever you would like to change. So our past experiences determine when we're open, determine when we're closed, determine when we're happy and we're sad. But if you're willing to objectively, from the seat of consciousness, look at everything and realize, okay, there's a lot out here that I don't know, because people like to say I wasn't born yesterday. But if you compare yourself to the fact that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old, then you absolutely were born yesterday, and you don't know anything. So it's just about expanding. I'm always up here asking us to expand our worldview and understand that we don't know anything. So all we can do is just, again, work on ourselves and be open to the possibilities. Again, spirituality starts with change. I'm just going to keep saying that. And So again, it's for you to decide what habit you want to change. And you don't want life to just cater to your strengths. Like say you're a tennis player and your backhand is just awful. So you sit there and hire a coach who is a great forehand coach. And that's because that's all you want is for the coach to send you the forehands because that's your strength. That is your strength. You don't want to look like a fool. You don't want to be foolish and give, and have to work on your backhand. That's how we act with our strengths versus our weaknesses. We always like to play to our strengths. But life, as we can tell, is always going to throw you things that are going to help you out with strengthening your weaknesses. Again, yes, strengthening your backhand. You do not, what kind of tennis player would you be if that's all you wanted to do was work on the thing that you're good at? No, you have to get the coach to help you with your backhand. And it's not, you may stumble, you may fall, and it's not to be embarrassed about that kind of thing. It's not, you can't be embarrassed about it. If you're the kind of person who, at work, you never like to volunteer for a new project or something that you think is a little beyond your level, you may identify that, hey, I would like to be a kind of person that tackles my fears, who looks fear in the face and is like, not today, fear. You might find that fun. You might find that to be a fun challenge for you. This kind of thing does not have to be something that is grueling, this like, oh, I have to do this. You want to make it kind of fun, like a game. You want to make it, like a video game. Video games are challenging, right? But we love to play them. Or if you're not a video game player, I'm not. But any kind of sport, anything that you find that is challenging, it's fun to play because it's challenging. Is that not right? So we can think about this, untethering ourselves to our habits as something that's fun. And as I begin to wrap up, I just want to say that many times, for another example, many times in relationships and marriage, we may get upset with our partner because they want to change us. And what does everybody say? I ain't like it. They trying to change me. We always say we want to make sure. Now, it is true. You want to make sure you get with somebody who you can accept exactly as they are, because you just cannot change anybody. They have to be the one to decide that they want to change whatever they want to change. So, but what we can do is come from a place of authenticity and because I'm not saying that someone else cannot be, cannot suggest something or cannot be a catalyst for you to change. But in order for that person to adopt it on, they have to authentically want to take on that personal growth challenge. It has to be something that, again, is authentic to them. They can't compromise because that is going to bring about resentment of the other partner, resentment from them of themselves. It's just not going to feel right. But if you identify something that you would like to also change as part of your growth, then that's a good idea. So initially, there is going to be resistance. If there is not resistance to the thing you have identified, then you picked the wrong thing. It's a very strong habit that you have developed over years and decades, and there's going to be resistance. But again, it has a compound effect. The strength you build from tackling one thing will fuel your strength to tackle the next thing. And the power that habit had will transmit into new energy for life in general. So you're playing the instrument of yourself, and you'll be able to see the next layer of what's holding you down as you tackle each thing about yourself that you would like to. And that concludes the speaker for today.